I wanted to challenge the norm, and there was a couple of lines in there. One of them was, people don't always understand you. And that just, made so much sense. I have a very small group of friends that get me. And they know that, if you're going to deal with Mike, then, he's always going to challenge the status quo. There's always going to be something that he's looking for. It's, that's pushing the envelope. And I do that for the relationships, but I just loved that. And so I'm really excited for you, Laverne, today. You took the why discovery process, and Chris and Dr. Gary are going to walk you through some more about that. So I'm just going to turn it over to the two of you guys. I'll interject every now and again, but why don't you, let's start here, and then we'll talk about why it matters.
Chris, would you like me to start, or would you like to start?
No, Gary, I think you ought to dive in.
Okay. So Laverne, you took the why discovery and it came up with the why of trust. How did that feel to you?
So at first thought, I looked at it, and you look at just the word trust and what the definition of it is and everything else. And it took me a little by surprise. I wasn't exactly sure what trust meant as far as a why. At first, when I first saw it, I was like, well, I don't do things just so people can trust me and things like that. And then you started reading through a lot of the content you had there, and, diving deeper into what exactly does that mean in terms of your why. And a lot of it did seem to resonate with me, and was pretty spot on with a lot of the stuff that I was thinking. And it was interesting to read some of that.
So it's actually creating relationships based upon trust. So let me outline this for the audience. The why of trust is actually creating relationships based upon trust, to be the trusted source, to be the one that others can count on. If you can count on Laverne and he can count on you, the sky's the limit. There's nothing we can't do. But Laverne, how do you feel if somebody breaks your trust?
I think like everybody, you feel betrayed, or, you kind of stop going to those people for the answers or different things. And, that a lot of times results in doing things on your own to get to those answers.
Does it just kind of annoy you, or is it more a knife in the gut?
Depending on what it is, if it's something that you can't believe they did it, or, you put yourself in their shoes and stuff. If it's something that you wouldn't do, it's kind of the knife in the gut. But, smaller things, if you can see their perspective, it makes sense sometimes.
Do you think it would be valuable for the people that work with you to know that trust is such a big and important part of who you are?
I think so. I think it would be valuable for everybody to understand what their why is and have it kind of out there in the open, and that way people know. So I don't know what the other, I guess the other 7 whys are. I know one of them's challenged now that Mike has said it.
And better way.
Yep.
So here's
clarify.
And clarify. Yes, we've got clarify for Chris. So here's the important thing about the why of trust. If you don't let people know how important that is to you, the odds are they are going to break your trust. They are going to do something that's going to let you down. So I'm going to guess that you probably do get let down, or people don't meet up to kind of what your standard of trust is because they don't know. And so as their leader, if you don't let them know, if you don't sit them down and say, look, to me, trust is a very big deal. I need to be able to trust you, and you need to be able to trust me. If I say, our meeting starts at 8, I want you to be here at 8. 8:05 is not okay. And they'll understand your actions from the perspective of your why. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. I think, a lot of people take it for granted that everybody kind of knows what their why is, or everyone shares the same kind of values or things. But I'm sure everybody, values trust, but it's ranked differently on different people's agendas. So
that's exactly it. Chris, did you want to add to that?
Well, I was going to say, that's a great observation. And a couple of times, Laverne, I've heard you sort of refer to, well, I suppose everybody, is going to feel this way or that way. And no, that's not what happens, which is why it's having this understanding of what your why is, and having other people in the organization know one another's, way of filtering information, seeing the world, and wanting to act is so important. Because what ends up happening for almost all of us is we assume, that's a dangerous word, but we presume, let's say, that people view the world the same way we do. And that's dangerous, because quite often they don't. And in fact, generally they don't. That's one point. The other I wanted to just make really quickly was that your why is a fabulous one for inside of an organization and as a leader. There is a principle that Michael and I use in the work that we do. It's around Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team. And actually, if you flip it around, it's what are the 5 attributes that make up a great team, including a business organization, a relationship with with your spouse, whatever. Anyway, it's built on these 5 attributes. And the number one attribute that drives successful teams is trust. Trust among the members of the team. It is the essential first step in building a great team, just as knowing what your why is the essential first step in understanding yourself and others. Anyway, I'll stop there.
I love it.